The name Nick Kyrgios has become almost synonymous with controversy. It seems like wherever he goes, drama follows him. During this Wimbledon alone, he's been involved in like 100 different conflicts. And now, former Australian Prime Minister John Anderson has given his 2 cents on the matter, and it's not looking good. So let's jump right into the conversation. First off, Kyrgios is up there with the original tennis brat. Nick Kyrgios somehow always finds a way to be in the news, and it's rarely for good reasons. In the last few weeks alone, he's been called a bully, toxic, entitled, rude, disgraceful, and a bunch of other things. Obviously, people back home in Australia aren't too happy with the 27-year-old star either. Sky News host Peta Credlin played a clip of Kyrgios being asked by the press about the controversies that surround him. Kyrgios obviously replied by saying that he loves all of it, and said that any publicity is good publicity. Right? Is that really true, Kyrgios? We're not sure about that at all. Then, Peta called Kyrgios an entitled sort of brat, and asked John Anderson for his opinion on the matter. Anderson replied by saying that while Kyrgios might not mind the controversies that he always seems to be a part of, but his fellow Australians might. He pointed out that the UK media is calling him everything under the sun, and are questioning the standards set in Australia and Australian tennis. He also said that the media is saying that he's right up there with the original bad boy brat John McEnroe, and that's saying a lot. He ended by saying that Kyrgios should think of his fellow Australians because you have to be at least a little selfless. If you didn't know already, John McEnroe was known for his super short temper as much as his brilliant skills. He often got into spats with referees, and there are many famous clips of him losing his temper on court. And guess what? McEnroe himself criticized Kyrgios as well. He called the Aussie's behavior embarrassing, and that he doesn't need to do all this. He said that it's scary how good Kyrgios is, and that's what makes this so sad. Many have pointed out that Kyrgios' behavior is perhaps way worse than McEnroe's, because he doesn't just get angry at the referees, he also belittles them in whatever way he can. And obviously, that's just not acceptable. You have to be respectful of everyone in the game. Also, when you're representing your country on such a public platform, there's a huge responsibility on your shoulders. And behaving like a petulant child is just not okay. Do better. Next up, Nick Kyrgios does not represent Australia. In the same segment, Peta asked journalist and columnist Jennifer Oriel for her opinion on the matter, and obviously she expressed that she doesn't approve of Kyrgios' antics at all. Jennifer said that if the rest of the world is watching, she'd like to make it clear that Kyrgios does not represent Australia in any way. Ouch. Must sting to get disowned by your own people. Or will Nick call this good publicity as well? She claimed that a lot of Australians are flabbergasted and absolutely disgusted by how he's been acting, adding that they do not support unsportsmanlike behavior at all. She then said that if people want to see someone that Australians admire, there are a lot of options, but Nick Kyrgios is certainly not one of them. And she continued throwing shade at Kyrgios after this as well. She really doesn't like him, huh? She rightly said that incivility on the court is not something to be celebrated, and that they would like to see Australians representing the best of Australian culture, which means mateship, being a good loser, being gracious in defeat, and being humble in defeat. She ended by saying that Kyrgios is none of those things. Both Anderson and Peta agreed with Jennifer, and Peta even said that most Aussies are more Ash Barty than Kyrgios. And we completely agree. Barty has set a terrific example for everyone by being an incredible professional throughout her career. Also, we really miss her on the court and hope she takes her retirement back. Come back, Ash. The world of tennis needs you more than ever. So what has Kyrgios been up to now? If you've not really been following this year's Wimbledon, you might be wondering what exactly Kyrgios did to turn people against him like this. After all, hasn't he always been like this? Well, let's just say he's been testing everyone's patience. His conduct in the third-round game against Stefanos Tsitsipas was especially appalling. He produced some absolutely brilliant tennis and ended up winning the game. But that's not what the game will be remembered for. Not at all. In fact, whenever this game is brought up in the future, people will think of how downright arrogant and embarrassing his behavior was. He repeatedly had problems with the line judge and asked him to be removed after a reversed call. He even asked the judge if he was dumb. Frustrated by Kyrgios' constant bickering with the judge, Tsitsipas lost his cool at one point and hit a ball into the crowd just under the player's box. Luckily, it didn't strike a fan and he got away with it. Kyrgios, of course, started throwing a tantrum and demanded a match default for his opponent, citing Novak Djokovic's 2020 US Open default as an example. When his requests were denied, Kyrgios refused to get along along with the match and demanded to see a supervisor. Now that it's all said and done, it seems like Kyrgios' antics might just have been a part of his tactics. All this insane chaos played a huge role in putting Tsitsipas off his game and gave Kyrgios a huge psychological edge over his opponent. Now, Tsitsipas calls Kyrgios a bully, but Tsitsipas is not taking Kyrgios' antics lightly at all. In the post-match interview, Tsitsipas claimed that what his opponent does on the court is bullying, and that's what he always does. He bullies opponents. The Greek said that Kyrgios was probably a bully at school also, and he doesn't like bullies and people who put other people down. We see where you're coming from, Stefanos. Kyrgios' on-court behavior has been simply unacceptable. Tsitsipas said that while Kyrgios has some good traits in him, he also has an evil side. He claimed that whenever that side of him is exposed, it can really do a lot of harm to the people around him. And again, Steph is completely right. When you're this entitled and angry all the time, it's definitely going to have a negative effect on everyone. Trash talking is acceptable, but you have to realize where the limits are, especially when you're a professional tennis player. And obviously, Kyrgios responded by calling Tsitsipas soft. Never one to accept his flaws, is he? Kyrgios laughed off Tsitsipas's remarks about bullying and claimed that the Greek has serious issues. He defended himself by saying that he's not sure how he bullied his opponent. He said that Tsitsipas was the one hitting balls at him and he was also the one who smacked the ball out of the stadium. Come on, Nick. Surely you know what you were doing throughout the game. Don't act all oblivious now. Kyrgios then said that he did nothing towards Tsitsipas that was disrespectful. He also called his opponent soft and claimed that they're just not cut from the same cloth. Kyrgios added that he's got many friends in the locker room and he's one of the most liked players on tour, while Tsitsipas isn't liked at all. We're not sure what kind of point he's trying to make here. This isn't a popularity contest. It's about professionalism and conduct. But Kyrgios is dealing with bigger problems right now. Nick Kyrgios has qualified for a Grand Slam semifinal for the first time in his career, and it wouldn't be a stretch to say that he's in the best form of his life. He's shown once again that he's a really fantastic player on grass, and a lot of fans believe that if he stays focused, he might go all the way this time around. But here's the thing, he's dealing with something else right now that's way bigger than the sport. He's now facing an assault charge back in Australia over an incident in December, where he allegedly grabbed his then-girlfriend Chiara Passari. Yeah, remember what he said about all publicity being good publicity? This proves that that's not true at all. Kyrgios is scheduled to appear in a courtroom in Canberra in early August, and apparently, prosecutors will decide whether to pursue the charge at the hearing. Kyrgios' lawyer gave his thoughts on the matter and said that because the nature of the allegation is so serious, Kyrgios is taking it very seriously. He revealed that the tennis star doesn't have a comment on the situation yet because the matter is before the court, but added that they'll issue a media release soon. Considering how often he loses his temper, this allegation isn't really unbelievable at all. Now, let's wait and see how the hearing goes. And that's a wrap for this video. So what are your thoughts on Kyrgios' behavior on and off the court? Please let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.